We are from movements that all sought to deepen our commitment to God and to the way of Jesus. Because we come from movements that were not satisfied with the majority answers on those concerns, whether Catholic or Protestant. We are, brothers and sisters, dissenters. Now that is a profoundly important statement. It sounds deceptively simple. To be a dissenter means that we not only sought to follow Jesus in a better way. For the earliest Anabaptists, they sought a deeper commitment to a lifestyle guided by the Gospels, and especially the Sermon on the Mount, and they symbolized their conscious commitment to Jesus by insisting that baptism should be for adults who know what they're committing themselves to. That became so symbolic of their dissent that they were nicknamed rebaptizers, Anabaptists. The other thing that being a dissenter means that we accept the possibility that a minority might be right and a majority wrong. Or at least we reserve the right to propose that things could be done differently. And brothers and sisters, all of our traditions paid a price. In all of our traditions was persecution.
When some folks read the Bible, they think of God up in the sky, and the only end to suffering is some great by and by. But the way I read the Bible, I see it in a different way. What a friend we have in Jesus, standing in oppression's way. And I want to know where, oh when, if not now, and who, if not you and me, standing in oppression's way. And I want to know where, if not here, oh when, if not now, and who, if not you and me, standing in oppression's way. When Jesus started preaching, he said to let the captives free, and he fed the poor and hungry before he died for you and me. We must know and show compassion now as much as yesterday, and be a friend like Jesus, standing in oppression's way. And I want to know where, if not here, oh when, if not now, and who, if not you and me, standing in oppression's way. And I want to know where, if not here, oh when, if not now, and who, if not you and me, standing in oppression's way.
We're at the Brigattine Monastery in Amity, Oregon. One of their specialties is making confectionery, and we're here with our tour guide, Jennifer. Jennifer, how long has this monastery been making confectionery?
Well, they've been making it here since 1986, but they were actually making chocolate down in Woodside, California before they moved up here. So it's been quite a long time they've been making chocolate.
And how many different kinds of chocolate? Is it called chocolate candy or chocolate?
We call them confections. So we make fudge and truffles, and we've just recently added raisin and nut clusters to some of the offerings here in the shop.
But some of what you call it chocolate is white chocolate. And
some people would argue that that's not chocolate, but we do use some white chocolate here, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite kind, and what is the most popular?
Probably the most popular would just be our most traditional flavors, our chocolate fudge, the traditional recipe, and our chocolate with walnuts. My personal favorite on fudge is probably the orange extra dark with candied orange peel, and my favorite truffle would be key lime.
Oh my goodness. I didn't get to try those two.
Oh, well, we'll have to take you back to the shop.
Yeah. So what's the process, and how long does it take to make, and how much are they producing?
They produce a lot of candy, probably about 40 to 50,000 boxes a year. We make really large batches. So fudge batches are typically about 200 pounds. So every day that we're making fudge, we generally do 2 batches, and then those batches have a long shelf life and will last quite a while. A batch of truffles probably produces about 1,000 truffles. So we do 1 flavor at a time. They're all hand rolled, and many of them are also hand dipped. So very labor intensive.
And you can finish the production of those 200 pounds in one day?
Yes, we make the fudge in one day. It sets overnight, and then it gets packaged the following day once it's completely cool.
Do you ship, or do people come here to buy?
We get a lot of visitors out to the monastery that buy from our little shop, but we do also ship a lot of candy. So we have online orders for people to just order individual boxes, and then we also offer wholesale options for shops.
And where do you sell, I mean, who buys the candy?
Individuals buy the candy from all over the country, but we also have a lot of smaller shops throughout Oregon and some other monasteries and other places throughout the country that carry it as well.
And who's making it? There are monks at this monastery, and they're the ones making the candy.
Yep, the monks make all the candy. There are 3 employees, and we help, but they do still make all the candy.
How many monks are here? And
just 4. Yeah.
Just 4.
Yeah, so they keep very busy between their prayer schedule and building maintenance and making candy. They're very, very busy.
Jennifer, how did all this get started?
Well, from what I understand of the history, the Brigattine order goes back to 1370, founded by St. Bridget of Sweden. This particular community of monks has been together since 1976. And they started out down in California. They spent a brief period in West Virginia. Communities like this one essentially have to be financially self-supporting. So often they just make kind of whatever the skill set is in their community. And they started out making zucchini bread and carrot cakes. But because of the shelf life, they started adding in some of the fudge, which was a family recipe from one of the brothers. And it was so popular, it just sort of ended up kind of taking over. They were doing kind of exclusively fudge until they learned the truffle making along the way, and they've been doing chocolate ever since.
So there's 4 brothers. What are their ages? Are they recruiting younger people? Because I think after time you get a little old, maybe.
Yeah, that I think is often a problem in a lot of these types of communities, as it is harder and harder to get new vocations. Our oldest brother, I believe, is 77. The youngest is 55. And we're always praying for new vocations. So
How would a person become a member of this order if they were interested in joining and living here?
it typically starts with a visit, and then they kind of counsel with the brothers. It's a long process to take full lifetime vows. And I typically work mostly on the confectionery side, so I wouldn't be the best person to answer all of the information about the process to becoming a monk. But
Jennifer, thank you for speaking with us on Brethren Voices at the Brigattine Monastery in Amity, Oregon.
yeah, we appreciate having you guys out.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anthony Giuliani. I'm your driver this afternoon. Experience with driving has been many, many years. With the motor coach, I've started with this company back in March, and it's been a wonderful experience, and worked in the national parks for many years before this. Drove the red buses in Glacier National Park, and then in Yellowstone drove the snow coaches. The red buses in Glacier National Park was doing guide tours throughout the summer seasons. Lots of wildlife opportunities, meeting people from all over the world and showing the beautiful scenery and the history of the park.
Oh, I went down to the river, but the river was dry. Oh, I went down to the river of peace. Oh, let's go down to the river and fill up the river, 'cause the river is dry. Oh, let's go down to the river and fill up the river with peace. Oh, I went down to the river, but the river was dry. Oh, I went down to the river, of love.
During the Jesus Movement, the Sojourners Community, Reba Place Fellowship, so many others. Reedwood Friends spawned an intentional community that lasted for a few years. Dr. Barrett has written that Quakers were also involved in communitarian movements, although he admits not a very large percentage, but he argues, and I quote, it was a natural expression of their Christian commitments. So here's what being here and being around Dr. Keel's vision in Aurora raises for me. What is it about our dissenting traditions that draw us together beyond simply meeting on Sundays? This is a question that I'm endlessly fascinated with, and it's raised simply by standing and sitting in this place. My guess is that our Lutheran, Presbyterian, and Baptist brothers and sisters, I'm sure they enjoy coming here. I'm sure, however, that they may not find it quite so existentially compelling, however interested they might be in Oregon history. My guess, some of the discussion about Christian community might leave them a bit cold. For us, my brothers and sisters, there is something in the walls here. There's something in the creaking of the floors that sings a tune faintly familiar. To the old benches of Quaker meeting houses, to the barn we're about to visit at Zion Mennonite, there's something here, brothers and sisters, and this is a good place to remind ourselves of it. Is it because of the stories of persecution that we talked about earlier? Is it because of our traditions that made us other, and therefore we banded together to care for one another? Quakers traditionally have an old committee that goes back to our beginnings, a committee in many of the meetings that was called the Committee for Sufferings. Care for each other. And I am well familiar with the powerful emphasis on community and taking care of one another in the Anabaptist and Church of the Brethren traditions. The Sojourners community, deeply influenced by Anabaptist theology. Pendle Hill, a Quaker community in retreat. Most Quakers who visit Pendle Hill come away thinking, I wish I could live this way always. Now it's true. This place, Aurora, did not arise from any of our traditions, but there is something strangely familiar nonetheless. Is it perhaps Dr. Keel's famous diamond rule? I'll come back to that. Whatever we decide is the best way to live the New Testament, I'm impressed that we try to listen, to those two passages in Acts 2 and 4. And that's why I love this place. Here were German-American Christians who also tried to listen to Acts 2 and 4. And they heard in Dr. Keel's idealism something compelling and good. The community here represented something that we, brothers and sisters, treasure. That is why I think we should be a people who particularly care about this place. Had this community survived, I believe we would have been their friends and allies. The Aurora colony was founded when Dr. Keel brought his Christian community experiment from Bethel, Missouri, by covered wagon in the 1850s. They went first to Washington State and then down to this location outside of Portland. Now, as many of us know, the 19th century was filled with utopian idealism and communitarian experiments from various religious traditions. There's lots of famous examples: New Harmony, Amana, Mother Ann and her Shakers, Ephrata, which has a direct connection with the Church of the Brethren, brothers and sisters. But for us in Oregon, most of us need to know and treasure that one of the best experiments was right here in Aurora. Dr. Keel was an interesting man. Virtually all historic sources suggest he was a dominant personality. The word authoritarian gets tossed around, in my opinion, a little too easy in the literature. That's become a more dangerous term in Trump's America. There are two major historical works that discuss Dr. Kiel, one a bit more negative, Koch's life story, Lebenserfahrungen by Karl Koch, published in 1871, not yet fully translated into English, but the other is Robert Hendricks, 1933. His book was called Bethel and Aurora, An Experiment in Communism as Practical Christianity. That's quite a title. Hendricks was quite enthusiastic, and he considered Aurora to have been a successful communal experiment. And there's much to be said for this. This community dispersed amicably after Dr. Kiel's death. Assets were distributed amongst the members fairly. In my view, the published essays of Dr. David Nelson Duke represent the most interesting studies of Aurora and Dr. Kiel, because Duke, I think, is balanced in his assessment. He's scrupulous about sources. That's a problem with all the older descriptions of Aurora. He was genuinely interested in the theology and implications of this experiment. This is wonderful history here, brothers and sisters. The first Oregon student at Harvard was a product of this community. We can learn about the community from this wonderful museum and place. But I'd like to leave us with this precious gift from Dr. Kiel. He called it the Diamond Rule because he proposed that it should be remembered in addition to the Golden Rule. In honor, prefer one another. In honor, prefer one another. That's Dr. Kiel's Diamond Rule. Our great task, Dr. Kiel is reported to have taught, is to Christianize Christianity. Brothers and sisters, I think Dr. Kiel sounds like one of us. Some problems maybe, but a Christian visionary. I think it's a privilege to be in this place, and I think it's very fortunate that work has been done to preserve this place and its legacy.
Oh, let's go down to the river, and fill up the river, 'cause the river is dry. Oh, let's go down to the river, and fill up the river with love. Oh, I went down to the river, down to the river, but the river was dry. Oh, I went down to the river, down to the river of harmony. Oh, let's go down to the river, and fill up the river, 'cause the river is dry. Oh, let's go down to the river, and fill up the river with harmony.
Mennonite Central Committee has been around for 100 years, and it started in the Ukraine when they sent food products to help the Mennonites who came out of, or who were living during a famine in the Ukraine. And so then it kind of took off, and it's been going ever since at a certain level. It's of Canadian churches and U.S. churches, and our mission is to work with development and community development and health and peace building. And peace building has been growing and growing, and it's everything else kind of goes through that theme. This here is what we call the Material Resource Center for the Northwest, and that's one aspect of what MCC does. MCC's budget is around $40 million, and most of that money comes in through thrift shops, believe it or not, and then through auctions, special events. Oregon has one in Albany the first weekend in October, where they, Second weekend. Don't show up the first weekend. Okay. And then the third source of money is donations by individuals and churches. And it's a people-intense gathering of goods, and the material resource is just one part of that. This facility is donated, well, the Zion Church says you can use it, and we do. And so a lot of the stuff is not ours. I'll tell you about our stuff. It's relatively dry except when it rains. We got different items come in. One of the main things that comes in is school kits. School kits, and I don't have one on display here, but it's like 4 notebooks, a box of colored pencils, a bunch of other pencils, erasers, a pencil sharpener. You can help me out here. A ruler, yeah, just basic. And it comes in the bags that are right behind you. Jaji, you gotta lift that bag up. Yeah, so they're all packed in bags. People make those bags. They'll go to a specific size, and other things are packed in that too. But and our biggest church is a group an ecumenical group like this in Eugene. They put together 1,000 kits a year. They make the bags. They buy the supplies. They fill them. They bring them here, and they pack them in boxes like you see right behind you. That little box. Yeah. 10. Then there's comforters, which is probably the big thing that comes in. Women's groups all over the Northwest make these. Portland Mennonite women make these. A lot of churches, a lot of women's groups, some of them non-Mennonites from Dallas area. There are sewing groups that continue to put these together. All of these kits then come here from the Northwest. And then once a year, well, I'll pack them in these bins that you see behind you. And then once a year, we get a truck, and they'll ship it to Akron. Then every bag, everything has gone through to make sure that it's consistent. So when it gets to where it's going, one person doesn't say, wow, I got 6 pencils and you only got 2. Everything is uniform. Yeah, so there's no, so they feel honored to get it. The blankets, I've seen those in Ukraine in orphanages. You get a drab orphanage, and you see these beautiful comforters on the beds. Stuff like that it kind of it stirs you. When we were in Nicaragua, we gave out school kits to a number of children in schools, but we also gave them to the pastors. They each got a kit, and there were like some 200 small, struggling, non-paid Mennonite churches in Nicaragua. And it was so fascinating one, when they would get that kit, you would see them, all of a sudden they'd start crying. Not all of them, but they'd cry, they'd turn, they were embarrassed because they were crying. And then I would meet them a few years later at a meeting, and they had that notebook, and they had written twice down college ruled from border to border, not stopping at the line. The pencil was down to a stub, just writing, taking notes at these conferences. So they used those, and they were excited to get them. There's a number of kits, and you can go online to see them. This is a hygiene kit, like a towel, basic, toothbrush, soap, fingernail clippers. This is an infant kit. You can look at that. And this is an emergency kit. If you look behind you where Leon is standing, that's being filled with kits, like 4 bath towels and a few other items.
It's a checkered history. Some good, some very good, some not so good. Penn was a wonderfully learned and idealistic man. Let's not put too sharp a point on it, folks. His sons were shits. So it goes. But we were joined happily by others who sought freedom of religion as well, Mennonites and the Church of the Brethren. You see, we have a long history of association, brothers and sisters, that goes back to the prehistory of this nation. Did we benefit from some of the suffering of Native Americans and even slaves? Yes, some of us did. We struggle with the unfortunate parts of our history, but we also celebrate and take counsel from the times when our traditions shared profound wisdom for us in the present. Our histories speak, brothers and sisters. The Church of the Brethren traces its roots back over 300 years to 1708. Some dissenters found refuge in the town of Schwarzenau in Germany. Among them was Alexander Mack, a miller who'd been influenced by both Anabaptism and also German Pietism, that inward movement of Germanic theology. So in August 1708, 5 men and 3 women gathered on the Eder River in Schwarzenau to rebaptize themselves, an illegal act since all were baptized as infants. They understood this baptism to be an outward symbol of their new faith and commitment of living a faith in community. An anonymous member of the group first baptized Mack. He then turned and baptized the other 7. The new group simply called themselves Brethren. We are from movements that all sought to deepen our commitment to God and to the way of Jesus. Because we come from movements that were not satisfied with the majority answers on those concerns, whether Catholic or Protestant. We are, brothers and sisters, dissenters. Christopher Sauer was among the first brethren who started one of the first printing presses. Some say he was before Ben Franklin, and declared that he printed. Now listen to this. Christopher Sauer said, "I print for the glory of God and the good of our neighbors." Isn't that wonderful? What a wonderful gift for all of us to consider how all of our work could be for the glory of God and the good of our neighbors.
Now if someone sins against you and you want to just retaliate, you know Jesus said be different, return love instead of hate. And if anyone is outcast for the color, faith, or if they're gay, we can be a friend like Jesus, standing in oppression's way. And I want to know where, oh when, and who, if not you and me, standing in oppression's way. And I want to know where, oh when, and who, if not you and me, standing in oppression's way. Some say when you find Jesus, you must accept him in a certain way. And if you don't say the right words, you'll have hell to pay. Maybe I don't know that Jesus. There's another one in whom I pray. He's the one I feel beside me, standing in oppression's way. And I want to know where, oh when, and who, if not you and me, standing in oppression's way. And I want to know where, oh when, and who, if not you and me, standing in oppression's way.